Hi everyone, welcome to Understand the Bible. In this video, I'm going to show you one quick habit that you can develop that will revolutionize your spiritual life. Now, I am not exaggerating and I am not kidding. One habit, if you develop it, it will change your spiritual life for better, for good. What is it? It's very, very simple. Read one psalm every day. And when I mean Psalms as in the book of Psalms in the Bible. Read one every day. That will change your spiritual life. Let me explain why that should be. The Psalms are like God's book of songs or prayers. They're things which help us relate to God. They show us how we should relate to God in every different situation. You know, whether you're feeling happy or whether you're feeling sad. It's like that kind of emotional side which we really need in order to relate to someone. It just helps us relate to God as a person rather than just knowing stuff about Him. At the end of the day, that's what true spirituality is all about. It's about knowing God, not just knowing stuff about Him, but knowing Him, really relating to Him, knowing our dependence on Him, knowing that we need Him in every situation. If you want all of that, and who wouldn't, then read the Psalms because they're full of that kind of language. They're full of that sort of relationship language with God. So how do you get into reading the Psalms? Well, here's my suggestion. Just read one whenever you would normally read the Bible every day. Read your normal Bible passage and also read a psalm. Just, you could start with Psalm 1 and work your way through. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Just read one every day. Some of them are quite long, so you might want to split those up a bit. For example, Psalm 119 is a very, very long psalm. You might just want to read a few bits of that every day. Just pick an amount that you can read in the time that you have. A couple of minutes is enough. It doesn't really matter, just so long as you can read a chunk and think about it a little bit. Now, I know that some of the Psalms are a little bit difficult to understand, and that's why in a minute I'm going to go through one and just help a little bit to think how I would sort of think about this. But my suggestion is just keep reading, even if you find the Psalms difficult to understand, because there's still benefit in doing that, because there are still bits that we can understand. I would say if there's a bit that you don't understand very well, just leave it to one side. Just leave it to one side and just pick the bits that you can understand. Pick the bits that make sense to you and go through, and eventually they will start to make more sense to you as you go through. And that's the point of the Psalms. It's not supposed to be that we understand everything straight away, but they guide us and help us. And as we read the Psalms, we'll understand more of them. Now, the whole point of the Psalms is that they're all about seeking God, seeking Him in every situation, whether we're feeling like we're threatened, whether we're feeling like we're sad or depressed, whether we're feeling really happy. It's just seeking God and trusting Him. That's the big message of the Psalms. And that's what you'll get when you read them. Don't worry too much about the finer details, but think about the seeking God. So let me give you an example. I'm going to read you Psalm 11, which is a fairly short psalm, and I'm going to read through it, and then I'm just going to talk through how I might think about it, just to give you something to go on. Psalm 11. In the Lord I take refuge. How then can you say to me, flee like a bird to your mountain? For look, the wicked bend their bows. They set their arrows against the strings to shoot from the shadows at the upright in heart. When the foundations are being destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is in His holy temple. The Lord is on His heavenly throne. He observes everyone on earth. His eyes examine them. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, He hates with a passion. On the wicked He will rain fiery coals and burning sulphur. A scorching wind will be their lot. For the Lord is righteous. He loves justice. The upright will see His face. Okay, so what does this psalm, what messages can we take home as we've read this psalm? How would I think about this? Well, if I was reading this, I tend to read the Bible and read the Psalms in the morning. If I was thinking about this in the morning, what I would say is, for one, that we take refuge in God. As it says, in the Lord I take refuge, the very first verse. And just think, amidst all that's going on in the world, and there's always a lot going on in the world, at the moment it seems like there's an awful lot which is happening. we can take refuge in God. And that's number one big thing to remember. You know, we take refuge in God no matter what is happening. And that's something over time that will make such a difference, you know, when we learn that we can take refuge in God. And also that he wants us to do what is right. And it says, you know, he hates people who do violence, who do wickedness, but he loves justice, and the upright will see his face. And that's an encouragement to us, however hard it might be, to keep seeking to do what is right, to keep seeking his ways, even if we might find it hard, even if perhaps other people are doing what's wrong. We can say, no, I'm going to do what is right, because the Lord loves righteousness and justice, and I will do what pleases him. Because I want him to be my refuge. And so that's what I would take from this psalm, an encouragement for one, to seek the Lord, to seek him as my refuge, and for two, to be encouraged to do what is right, to know that that pleases God, not to do what is evil, but to seek to do his will, to seek to do what is right. This is the kind of message which is all the way through the Psalms, and this is how you need to think about it. You know, don't get too caught up in all the finer points of the details, but rather seek God and learn the big lessons, I would say, from the Psalms. You know, just don't read for all of the details, just read to be edified and to be built up. The final thing I want to say is, if you'd like a bit of help getting started with reading the Psalms, there are lots of books that you can get, and I'll put a link to some of them down below, but there's just one that I'm going to recommend personally, which is this book here. It's called Psalms by the Day by Alec Mattia, and I got this a couple of years ago, and I've been through it a couple of times. It's just so helpful. He puts together a little bit for every day. And I'll just show you here. He just has some notes with each psalm. He does a new translation, and then at the end of it, he's just got this pause for thought. And the pause for thought is just a couple of paragraphs about, you know, just helping us to think and apply it to today. And all of those were just so helpful. You know, Alec Mattia is a really good Bible teacher and a really good person to listen to. He has actually died now, but this is one of the most helpful things I think that I've read by him. So Psalms by the Day, there are other things you can get as well. Get into the Psalms, get stuck in, learn not just about God, but learn how to relate to him, make the prayers your own, and use them to help you grow spiritually. That is what this video is about. Use the Psalms, read them, pray them, all of that. I hope that you found this helpful. Do please click on the subscribe button on YouTube. Check out the website understandthebible.uk. There's lots of videos about the Christian faith, teaching the Christian faith. If you've always wanted to learn, do have a look at that. And I hope to see you again for another video very soon. My name is Phil, and God bless.